Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, brothers in arms, World of Warships, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at a fantastic game that I had in the Montana, the Tier 10 American battleship. I'm divvied up with my buddy Cruxus, and he's playing in the Gearing, the Tier 10 American destroyer, and we're playing some domination on everybody's favorite map, Ocean. So this replay that you're going to see here today is a very, very good result. However, as you can also see by the title of the replay, short and steady really does win the race here in World of Warships. There are plenty of games that go very close to or all the way through the 20-minute time limit, and it's in those kind of games that you really see what kind of a player you are. Obviously, the 6-7 minute stomps, they kind of suck. 10-minute, 11-minute games where maybe things are looking a little hairy for the first couple minutes, maybe even halfway through the game, but then eventually your team is able to take care of business and you can have a good result. Those are the majority of the games here in World of Warships. However, the ones that really go all the way to the end, they showcase everything about a player, in my opinion, because you get to see early, mid, and late game positioning. You get to see decision-making play out over the course of a very long duration battle. And this one is a replay that I'm very proud of because things don't go as great as I'd like it to at the beginning, and the enemy team and my team kill each other just enough that when we do get to the climax of this replay, I'm going to have to put my carry pants on to ensure that my team is able to come through with a victory. So we're definitely going to see a lot of different things throughout the course of this battle, so definitely enjoy this one. Now, my first shot going down range at the Grozavoy, I have been taking some more, I guess, risky shots in my battleships lately, just trying to get comfortable with really long-range shooting. I am pretty decent at it, in my opinion. But there are definitely some shots that I need to get a little bit better at making. And that one right there was actually not as hard as one might think. A destroyer making a full turn, even at range, as long as they stay on that same course and they go full hard to the left or right, it is a little bit easier to be able to judge. Same thing with this Salem right here. You can see that he is moving basically parallel to my course. He does move slightly away, about halfway when my shells were going down range. And I do get very, very lucky right here. Only one shell manages to find the target, but of course, in typical RNG fashion, it is a Citadel. Now, on a shot like that, even though that we're moving roughly at the same distance, or the same course, I should say, because the distance is so great, you really don't want to aim at the waterline. You want to take the safe play and aim up into the hull, because you know, at that kind of distance, you're going to have quite a few shells land short and a few go long, and then some land exactly on it. So that's something to keep note of. Also, this third salvo of the game on the Lion, at long range, it's kind of difficult to tell when ships are moving very slowly forward or backward what they're actually doing. And unfortunately, that Lion was actually moving slightly forward, and even though I had my scouting aircraft up, unfortunately, I was not able to land any shells on target. So far, only 3 salvos have been fired, but 2 of them have been relatively poor, and the one that got the Citadel, I did get rather lucky on, to be honest with you guys. Now, the next one is going down range at the Alaska. You can see that he is starting to move forward and turn to his right, or his left, so these shells do look okay on the bow, and I do get a pretty decent hit. Unfortunately, a couple of those pens I don't think at least one of them did any damage. So only about 4,000 on that Tier 9 American heavy cruiser. So 4 salvos, mediocre results, at least for me. I'd like to see some consistent damage on those. The next one I'm going for on the Lion, he is starting to make a hard turn to his left. So obviously when you have your spotting aircraft up, you really do want to exaggerate it a little bit, aim a little bit higher than you think you might need to, unless you're going to get results like this, where I do get 3 pens right into the side of his hull. So on that one, obviously on the replays here, you don't see the dash marks for your aiming reticle, but definitely when they're making that full turn, you want to aim up just a little bit more to compensate, because obviously as they're turning towards you, the hull slides towards you, but then as they're turning away, the hull kind of slides back away. And if you do aim higher, you're going to greatly increase your chances of getting a hit. The next salvo going down range at the Alaska, unfortunately, it lands short, just a little bit too short on that one. I was definitely upset about that because you saw that he didn't really take any evasive maneuvers, and that was, at least for a Montana's sake, a relatively easy shot to make at about medium range into that 13 to 18 kilometer range. That's kind of medium range for the Montana, and it's upsetting when you're not able to land those kinds of salvos. The next one, 21.2 kilometers. Again, a shot that maybe I wouldn't have taken more often when I was, I guess a little younger at this game. I've been playing it now for a very, very long time. Unfortunately, 4 overpens right there, 2,700 points of damage on the double salvo that hit for each of them. So 5,400 in total. A decent salvo, even though it is that kind of distance. That Musashi is very broadside, so you'd like to see a little bit more damage right there. But at this point, Cruxus is getting onto the A-cap. The Haragumo does take care of the Des Moines with the first blood, so we are on the back foot here, and the Alaska manages to get the other Des Moines on our team. So we're already down 2 American heavy cruisers, which really does kind of stink. Salvo falling in on the Worcester, that's a very good one. Unfortunately, 2 ricochets, but that's okay. About 8,000 damage on that Tier 10 American light cruiser. You saw that salvo come flying in right on top of the nose. That is exactly what you need to do. I'm getting ready for my next salvo on that guy. Unfortunately, he does go undetected. Very smart move by him. He's obviously making his full turn to his right now. So, yeah, definitely a good decision to be made there. Now, I am flashing my broadside to the enemy Yamato at about 12 kilometers, but I feel that he has got his attention distracted a little bit, and I am going to be able to make this turn and start to get decently angled by the time that his shells do fall in on my ship. I do aim up quite a bit, trying to hit him in his superstructure, because when battleships do go bow on, you really do need to aim higher to try to get those pens on the conning tower and whatnot. So that's why I've been on my salvos on bow-end targets, trying to shoot a little bit higher up in there. Our team does still have the lead, even with 3 ships down. It's 340, 351, I should say, to 340. We do have the A and the C cap, and Cruxus is going to make a play for this B cap. The enemy team really is playing very passive right now, but this is a very dangerous situation to be in. Even though that we do have the points lead and the cap lead, if you lose too many ships too quickly, it's going to be very easy for the enemy team to re-push and get onto those capture points. So we really can't afford to lose too many more ships until we're able to even up the ship count at least. So it's a perfect situation in terms of games that are going to go a long time, because even though we are accruing a decent amount of points, if we keep losing ships, it's really not going to mean all that much. The next salvo, a little bit too far to the left on the Salem. I thought that he was backing up faster than he actually was, but still about 8,000 damage on that guy, which is a pretty decent salvo. I am turning in towards the Yamato. He's only on 14,000 hit points. Cruxus, I believe, does have some torpedoes going in on him, so that should finish the job. The Conqueror actually manages to secure that kill after one of his torpedoes landed on the center part of his belt. My next salvo going down range at the Salem. Unfortunately, I don't even know how that happened. 3 ricochets, very, very unlucky. Those American cruisers do not have the nose and the stern armor to be able to deflect 16-inch guns. I can only guess that maybe somehow those shells managed to find the middle part of the deck around the superstructure, but very unfortunate right there on that Salem. Now he turns broadside, but he does not take into account the dive bombers that are coming in, so I'm only able to get my forward turrets shooting at him. And of course, because that's just how it works, 4 dastardly overpens on a broadside Salem, just as all the planes get shot down, and he is able to go undetected. So very unfortunately for myself right there, I'm not able to get the kill. Now, we have all of a sudden jumped out to quite a hefty point lead, because 3 of the enemy battleships have been sunk in this game. However, the enemy team is finally making their counter push. The Haragumo manages to burn down the Worcester, and they are going to secure the Charlie cap for their team. My salvo looks pretty good going in, but the Musashi does manage to take care of that Worcester. So at this point, 47 shell hits, only 62,000 points of damage. I haven't lost too many hit points. I still have 5 heals left over, and there's still 11 minutes left in this game. So there's still plenty of time for me to manage to get a decent result here. And we're going to have the 2 cap to 1 lead here, as long as that Grozavoy doesn't give my buddy Cruxus too much of a problem. The dispersion on the Salem doesn't look terribly good. The salvo falls in on the aft part of his ship, and I do manage over 10,000 points of damage. Excuse me. As the Midway, during that moment, was able to take care of the Grozavoy. So the enemy team only has 1 destroyer, and it is a Haragumo, and Cruxus will be able to secure this B cap for our team. I'm getting ready for my next salvo here on the Hakuryu. One thing to note, when you are shooting at very long range at carriers, those ships are capable of moving at an over 30 knots. So I was aiming on the 20 dash on my reticle. I do use the Type 3 reticle, but unfortunately he was just a little bit too fast, and I actually managed to land the salvo all the way behind his ship. So once again, another relatively shady salvo right there, just not doing a lot for me. And the enemy team does manage to get 2 kills in pretty quick succession, so now we're actually down on ships 6-5. And I'm looking for the kill shot here on the enemy Alaska, who's at about 8,000 hit points. The salvo is going down range. Unfortunately, I don't think I accounted for his speed as he was slowing down. The dispersion isn't the best, and you can see that that one shell on the left side of the salvo did manage to catch his bow, but unfortunately with that Alaska not going down, it's going to come back to bite me in the rear end later on in this replay. Cruxus is going out to try and spot the Haragumo. He's at 10.6 kilometers, and he does see Cruxus. Obviously, the Haragumo is one of the few destroyers in the game that battleships can score full damage pens on. Somehow, only 5 over pens, still 6,700 points of damage, but Cruxus came out of his smoke screen way too close to that guy, and unfortunately he is going to be able to take care of my buddy. Now the Musashi that's off to my left still has 60,000 hit points, but we got to try to kill this destroyer before he can launch his torpedo salvo. It's basically myself and the Musashi in B, there's a Conqueror to our northwest, and then the carrier all the way in the back. So we're not going to have too much support here for the rest of this game. The next salvo going in, 7 over pens. Once again, somehow I didn't get any penetrations there, but we managed to take care of that Tier 10 Japanese destroyer. Unfortunately, he did manage to get his torpedo salvo off at the Musashi, and now I'm actually getting into a big predicament. I'm slowly creeping forward towards the enemy Lion, who of course is going to be spamming high explosive if he's smart, and there we go. He does get the fire on me, but since the Montana shot, I really need to make this turn right now. We're going to risk it. All of my guns are reloaded and ready to go, so we're going to shoot at this guy's broadside because he had to go straight to try to dodge those torpedoes, and we're now going to try to get into a kiting position moving to the south away from the B cap. Unfortunately, no citadels to be found on the Montana. Still did about 13,000 points of damage. I am using one of my heals as I am on fire from that Lion. Very unfortunately, I did not manage to get a single citadel on that Montana, which really stinks. And now the Musashi goes down from the Hakuryu's torpedo bomber. So it's a 3 versus 5 situation. I still have a lot of hit points and 4 more heals to work with, but now we need to start taking these ships down one by one. And I'm once again doing one of my most favorite kiting techniques. I am putting the ship that is furthest to my left, which would be the Salem and the Alaska, completely kiting away from those guys, even though they are out of range. Then the Lion is a little bit more off my, I guess, my port hindquarter. And then the target that I am engaging that is furthest to my right, I am at a very ideal angle. So this Montana is never going to be able to get any big salvo off on me because I am angled very well, and I'm in no danger of taking any big hits from the other enemy ships that are on the board. So this is a perfect kiting spot. The Montana turns full broadside. I only do 20,000 points of damage to him. Somehow I did not manage to get another citadel, but that's whatever. And the Midway's rocket planes do manage to take that guy down. So we're up to 146,000 points of damage, but there's still plenty more that needs to be done before we can consider this game a victory. I'm looking for another big salvo here on the Hakuryu at 21.7 kilometers. I think I learned my lesson from the first salvo that I sent downrange at him, and I aimed quite a bit further forward. The salvo does look pretty decent. He does go undetected. We'll see if we manage to get yet another hit. Maybe salvo falling in. Unfortunately, I did not aim high enough yet again. This was very, very frustrating, to put it lightly, as I was not able to get any decent shot on that aircraft carrier. But at this point, I realized that it's probably not the smartest target to shoot out, even if he does get detected again. But now we're in a 2 versus 4 situation as the Conqueror, who was off by himself, managed to get away. And that Salem, who I did not kill when he was broadside, has been able to move away from the battle space and become basically a nuisance on all the teammates that were moving to the northwest of the B cap. So very fortunately for us, because we did have that points lead at the very beginning of the game, we're almost at 700 points, and we do have a 2-to-1 cap lead, and it's going to be impossible for this Lion to cap, even though he's only at 11.6 kilometers away, it's going to be impossible for him to cap that B point because our midway is going to be able to keep him spotted indefinitely. So we're still in a good kiting position. There's no reason for me to turn in and close the distance to that guy. The midway is going in with his high explosive bombers. Hopefully you can get some pretty decent hits on that guy. Unfortunately, it was a decent salvo, but it was certainly nothing major. The Lion is just enough broadside for me to be able to get some really good armor-piercing penetrations into the side of his ship. I aimed the salvo just a tad too low, and I only get 2 pens. 3 of them did ricochet off the stern of his ship, but I still did over 11,000 points of damage. I'm now trying to angle here to the Hakuryu's dive bombers. You can see that I do get citadeled just behind the Y and the X turrets. But the position that I'm in right now is pretty okay. The Lion's down to 39,000 hit points. I do have my spawning aircraft up just so I can make sure that these salvos are placed very, very accurately. The next one falling in, I do get a Citadel for 27,000 points of damage. The new British battleship Citadel changes have put the water line right where the Citadel, or the water line is right where the Citadel meets it. So no longer can these British battleships sail broadside and not get screwed over. Which is really good because it's really annoying to shoot at these sometimes. He's down to 10,000 hit points. Hopefully we're going to be able to get the killing shot here on this guy. The salvo looks pretty decent. Puts him down to 8,800 hit points, and that is going to come back to bite us in the butt. Only 4 overpens and 2 penetrating shots. The midway is not able to get any attacks on that guy right now, and of course the Lion is able to get his next heal off, which is very unfortunate. He does turn a little bit too far broadside, I guess. Hopefully we're going to be able to punish this guy once again. There are rocket planes coming in on my position. The salvo looks pretty decent. Waterline, I'm not sure how I didn't get a single Citadel on that guy. I still peppered him for over 11,000 points of damage, but now I'm in the chasing position. And if there's anything battleship-wise that you really don't want to do in this game is give chase to a British battleship, because even though they don't have the best turret angles, at least the Lion doesn't, the high explosive shot is very, very dangerous. Next one going down range, I really don't know if I'm going to be able to get a Citadel at that angle. The shells are falling in on the target. I aimed a little bit too far to the rear, as I do pick up the high caliber on that guy, but unfortunately, he's still at 16,000 hit points. I really need the midway to get in there and get a really good torpedo salvo off on him so that I'm able to finish the job. And then, what do you know, the Hakuryu gets a little too close, and I do not want to pass up on this opportunity. I've already shot at him twice and missed, so I really want to punish this guy so that the air attacks do stop. The salvo is falling in on the target, and there we go. Double Citadel, triple Citadel, big, absolutely massive salvo on that guy. He's down to 2,300 hit points as my damage actually goes up to 274,000. Really need to get this killing blow on the carrier, so hopefully he will stop shooting at me. The Lion is going to manage to get the B cap, but we do have such a big points lead that I don't really think it's going to matter at this point. There's only 2 minutes and 14 seconds left in the game. He did switch to high explosive, as I do manage to kill the carrier for my second frag of the game, and I do get the base reset on the B cap as he goes down to 9,000 hit points. He's using his next heal. At this point, I can't even worry about the Alaska. He is angling just enough for me not to be able to get a guaranteed kill shot on him. So I'm just going to keep resetting this Bravo Cap Lion. And even when I do succumb to the high explosive, that will be a-okay. The Hakuryu gets one last torpedo bomber salvo on me. And of course the Lion, as soon as my damage control goes down, manages to get a double fire. But that's just the kind of RNG that you should expect from bad players every time one of those guys shoots you. It just seems like you always get screwed over RNG-wise. And then the Alaska salvo comes in and manages to burn me out. But that's okay. There's only a minute 24 left. The midway has full health, and he's going to angle away, and we're going to be good. So even though the enemy team will get the B cap, that is too late for them. And now we're going to take a look at the post-battle results. Alrighty guys, taking a look at the post-battle results, 800,000 credits received and 12,000 total experience earned. This was not my first win of the day. I picked up high caliber, dealing 292,000 points of damage off of 153 shell hits. I shot down 18 aircraft, sank 2 ships, had 5 citadels, and had 8 base defense ribbons. This is the only post-battle results screenshot that I was able to get. However, I had over 3,500 base XP in this battle, which was about double the guy that finished in second place for my team. So obviously, at the end of the game, having all those hit points to work with, having all those heals to work with, I was able to live just long enough to deny the enemy team the ability to capture the bases and bring the score back in their favor. And then when I did die, we had such a big points lead and there was such little time left that the enemy team was not going to be able to walk away with a victory in that game. So, again, slow and steady wins the race. It didn't start out very well for me, but it ended up being a very good result, and I helped lead my team to victory. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one. This is the Sneaky Snake for BIA World of Warships signing off. Guys and gals, as always, have a great day.